Yes, people. Pardon. What is going down? It's MC Noble. Welcome back to another live stream. And today we are going to be planning a hardcore set. So, what do I mean by planning a hardcore set? Now, basically, if you aren't aware of what planning a set is, so basically, a DJ, say if a DJ has like a gig or has like a booking coming up, 9 times out of 10, they will plan a set at home. So they will like go on a computer, or they'll go to a file of music, and they will just basically plan sort of a rough idea of what tunes they are going to play in the set. So they'll have a browse through their music library, they'll have a listen to some music, and they'll think, this will go down well at the gig, this will get people moving, this will get people raving. And some people will just plan sets in advance. So if they get bookings, they'll have playlists with sets on, and they'll just look at a playlist and they'll look at the track listings, and they'll think, this set will go down well at this gig, and they'll like this style of tunes, and they'll plan one, which is not always a bad thing to do. Some people will just turn up to a gig with all of their music, and they'll just wing it and they'll play whatever they're feeling on the night, which is also not necessarily a bad thing. If you are a good DJ and you just can mix tracks anyway, you know how to mix tracks, sometimes it's not a bad idea to go ahead and actually, just wing it. If you've got loads of tracks, and sometimes you're not always sure what other people at a gig or at a booking, you're not sure what they're gonna play. So sometimes just going and winging it, having a playlist full of music, is not a bad idea, because then you can listen to what other people are playing, and then if they play a track and you were maybe thinking of playing it, you will then know, right, that track's being played, so I might play something else instead. But a lot of DJs, like I say, they will actually plan a set. Now, there's another reason for this video, and this video comes with a little bit of good news, and there's not really too much I can say about it at the moment, but there is another festival in the pipeline, and I'm not sure when. I know it's going to be this year, and I know it's going to be somewhat soon. It's going to be like within the coming months. There is plans and there is talks of another festival. So obviously a few of you, or a lot of you, will know about nearly a month ago now, I did a festival called Harder Southwest Fest, and it was an absolutely amazing weekend. And I played 2 sets at the festival. Well, I actually only played one. I was supposed to play 2 sets, but I got a little too drunk on the Friday night. I was playing the last set of the night, and it was like 2 in the morning, and everybody had kind of like died down and gone back to the tents, and I was quite drunk. So I ended up, unfortunately, missing the set, which was not my plan, and I deeply regret actually missing that set. However, I played a set on the Saturday, which the set was absolutely amazing, and I winged the set. There was nothing planned about the set. There was nothing whatsoever organised about the set. There was about 2 tracks, as a matter of fact, that I knew that I was definitely going to play, and that was a couple of tracks of my own remixes that I've done. So I was kind of like sort of winging it, if that makes sense. So I had like 2 tracks that I knew I definitely was going to play for definite, and I knew there was tracks within the playlist that I wanted to play, but it was just a case of like going through the tunes at the time and sort of like playing sort of like what was sort of like handiest to me as well. As you know, you've got to sort of get your next track selected and make sure you get it all in time, because you're actually playing live to an audience. You haven't got time to really sit around and be picky and listen to loads of different songs and decide which one you like. It's a case of will this one go in, and and sort of bring it in. Um, so I did a really good set to say that I winged it. However, with the news of there being another festival on the pipeline, I decided this time I was going to be a little bit more prepared, and that I wanted to plan and have a couple of sets at the ready to play the festival. So obviously now I've been to the festival, so I know what the first one was like. So I've got a little bit of a sort of like knowledge of what to expect with the festival, which gives me a bit more of an understanding of what to play as well. So yesterday, I actually went ahead and I actually put a set together. So Harder Southwest Fest here. This was This was my playlist for the first one, and this was just every tune, more or less, that I actually wanted to play. What I did was I actually analysed my tunes wrong. So basically, I made a playlist and put every folder into one playlist. So it created this big playlist going from all these, so sort of going in alphabetical order from A right down to Z of every tune I had that I'd actually put in to record box. But then what I realized is you can actually make playlists in record box, and you can actually just drag certain tunes to this playlist, and it'll make their own sort of folders. So when you put them onto the newer Pioneer kit, you'll have like folders with just them tracks on. So you can have a folder, and you can have all the tracks going in the order that you want to play them, and you can actually make a set out of it. And this is actually where it sort of works out really well for me. So to cut the story short, I made a folder yesterday called Harder Southwest Fest 2. Now if we click on it, there's 25 tracks, okay? Now, and they all go through in order, and they all, they're all sort of set to be mixed in the order. So it would start with this track. Now, what I did is I added 25 tracks because with a festival, so basically I would be playing for the average set time would be an hour. So I'd be playing for an hour. However, usually for about an hour, you would have about 19 to 20 tracks. That would sort of roughly be about an hour. However, with it being a hardcore set, some of the tracks, especially this one here, so this is a remix of Alice DJ, Better Off Alone. And on the second drop, I actually quick mix it into this Party Don't Stop. So it does like a bit of a quick mix transition. And there's a couple of other tracks, like this Zombie Nation track. It's not the longest of tracks, and before you're mixing out of it. So I'd soon be going into the Boys of Summer. So there's a couple of tracks that I would be quick mixing where I would probably, sorry, sorry about that. So there'll probably be a couple of tunes where I'd quick mix them, and I'd actually be ahead of time. So basically, I would maybe get down to maybe track 20, and I might still have a little bit of time left. So I just put these tunes in. So basically, these tunes after 20, the extra 5, they're just sort of tracks in case, like, for example, I did sort of like go under, sorry. So if I got to my track 20 and I still maybe had another 10 minutes left, at least I would still have a couple of songs to drop. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't actually be sort of out of tracks, if that makes sense. Like, oh shit, I've come to the end of the track. So at least I've got a couple more tracks that I could actually play, if that makes sense. So if I was a little bit short for time, and if I was a little bit long for time, sorry, and I still had maybe 10 minutes left, then I could just drop a couple of tunes in, just to sort of keep the set going. But this set is a planned for the Saturday. So the last festival, the Saturday was kind of like the main day that, more people were there. It was, things were kicking off more. Friday was more like the warming up day. So this set is kind of like my sort of more harder set. So everything's more twisted. There's like drum and bass drops, there's dubstep drops, there's hardstyle drops, there's even some speeded up EDM drops like this Martin Garrix Animal, Lard Mashup, Gamma the Drop, Ricky. They all go sort of like twisted. They all sort of do something quite different, as opposed to what sort of goes on, if that makes sense. If that if you get what I mean. So like that's just sort of roughly how it goes, if that makes sense. And I'm just sort of looking because I was pretty certain that yesterday I put a tune in here, and now I can't seem to find it anywhere. And I was pretty certain that I dropped it in somewhere. Do you know what? It's actually missing. It's actually missing from the set. I'm a little bit gutted about that. I was certain I added it in. So what I'm going to do is go back to my collection, and I'm going to add it in, because I know for a fact it was a remix of Sandstorm. So I'm going to put it into my Harder Southwest Fest 2. So if I go into there, so it is actually going to put it at the bottom. But what I want to try and do is, so it was after Party Don't Stop. Can I like, alright, so that's actually put it underneath. So can I like, I can't actually move it up. Oh yes, there we go. Right, there we go. So that now goes up to there. So right, so what I'm going to do, so I'm going to take a tune out now. So what's this one? Right, that's the, right. I tell you what, I'll take out the Poison. I mean, because I can always add the Poison onto the Friday set, do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't really matter for me. What matters for me in this set is getting a lot of the twisted dubstep sort of songs into the set, do you know what I mean? So like if I just put this one on the turntable, or load it onto the deck if you like. So I don't know how well you can actually hear that, but it's a nice remix of Sandstorm. So there we go. And then if we go into this drop, this is where it goes a bit twisted. So, as you can obviously gather from there, they're really good, like, festival bangers, do you know what I mean? So we'll just go over and we'll put this Martin Garrix tune on, just so you get a little bit of an idea of, so here we are, look. So, it keeps the sort of original sort of like drop to it, do you know what I mean? It's got that sort of feel to it. Oh, I don't know what's happened there. I think my record box has gone on a little bit of a go slow. I'm sort of hoping that it fixes itself, because if it doesn't, it might mess the stream up, because I'm displaying the record box screen through my OBS, and it might not work, like if the record box actually cuts off to the point where I've got to reload it. It's going to be a little bit hard for me to reload it and maybe keep the stream going. I'm not sure. Or you might see a black screen for a while. It's not responding at the moment. I don't know how well you'd be able to see that. It probably won't show you it, but for me it's not responding, so I might just have to wait, see if it responds. But anyway, so the whole point of this set is it's supposed to be a bit more twisted. It's supposed to be a little bit more sort of like just a bit more different than your normal average hardcore set. Not your UK sort of style as such. It's meant to be a bit more twisted. There's tracks in it that just take you in different directions. The drops on some of them are maybe a little bit different to what you would expect. So, for example, you got a tune building up, and then it'll do something completely different to maybe what you think it would do. And this is where this is where it makes the set more interesting, especially as tracks such as as you see down here, the Andy Whitby and the Club Filler tune, so number 19. That's a remix of Blam. And although, you hear it coming in, you think of Blam, you won't expect it to somewhat drop how it does. The System F and the Lose Me Forever is two remixes done by a guy called Brett Cooper. They are UK hardcore tunes. They don't really go dubsteppy as such. The System F has a really nice little drum and bass kick to it at the start, and the Lose Me Forever has a really nice breakbeat in it. However, it's still a remix. Do you know what I mean? And I've got to say hats off to Brett Cooper, because these tunes are absolutely wicked, and the production level on them are really good. And like the System F Cry and the Lose Me Forever, like I could actually picture them, like I don't know, why in some sense, like Gamma and System F, or like whoever like did like these tunes back in the day. Like I know Dougal and Gamma did the Lose Me Forever. I'm sure Squaddy did a version of Cry. I don't know if Recon did a version of it. But I don't know why some like bigger people haven't picked these remixes up and done something with them, because the production level on them are just brilliant. And then we've got this Dougal and Gamma, which is a Through the Darkness remix. It's a Redux remix, and it's just an absolute, again, it's an absolute tune. I'm going to have to close the program. It should, yeah, it's going to keep the stream on, so don't worry about that. We should be back in a moment, I would imagine. I'm hoping that once I reload my record box, we'll come back. And you'll see the screen again. I'm hoping so. If not, then I think I might be able to get it going, but we'll have to see exactly what goes down in Chinatown. So we'll close that. Right, so we are actually back open. So don't sync with tag. Boom. Alright, yeah, so we've not actually come back on. So let me... here we are, we're back. Here we are, look, we're back now. Everything's back. Right. Yeah. So if I go back to Harder Southwest Fest 2. So, yeah. So like I say, these tunes here, absolutely banging remixes. However, if the festival goes anything like it did the last time, and I end up, being put down to play on Friday as well, Friday I'm going to do a more UK hardcore classic-y set. But I'm going to do something a little different with the Friday set. And I'm going to take it a little bit old school, and I'm going to take it a little bit trancey as well. So what I mean by that is I've got a few hardcore tracks that are actually trance remixes of trance tunes. So I've got an ATB, 9 PM Till I Come. I've also got a Born Slippy. I've got a York on the Beach. I've got a CRW, I Feel Love. I've got some other trance tunes. I've got a Heart of Asia, couple of Bellissima remixes and stuff like that. Some Alia Alias and stuff like that. So I reckon I could make a pretty decent setup out of it. And again, I'll probably do about 25 tracks just to be sort of on the safe side. So I'm going to sort of start off a little bit old schooly, and then I'm thinking that I'm going to take it into this trance sort of vibe for a bit, so there'll be a little section of the set. So we'll just warm you in with a couple of tracks, and then we'll go into some trance stuff, and then we'll just sort of come out of the trance, and we'll go into like another sort of style, which might be a little bit more sort of like, sort of like UK HDID hardcore sort of style, which I think will work out quite well, and we'll get some nice tunes in there as well. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start. So what I'm thinking of starting with is a tune, I Became Hardcore, by Scott Brown. It's an absolute banger of a track, so we're going to put it on the turntable, so it's at 170. So what we'll do is we won't play the whole track through, because that would just be, You know, that would just be boring. So all we want to really do is we play one track, we get the next track that I think in my head I'm gonna drop that in next, and then to cut the story short, if it mixes well, then I will put it in basically. But sometimes Record Box does actually mess up. So like for example, like some tunes, because what I do in Record Box is I actually just sync the beats, because it's quite hard to beat match just on a virtual program with no controller. So I just sync, but sometimes the sync doesn't always sync the beats to be in sync. So for example, like if a tune starts with a little bit of a D and B drop, sometimes it won't always go in beat perfectly by pressing the sync button. But if I know myself on an actual proper pair of decks that I can get them in beat, then sometimes I will stick with a tune. So if you do hear a tune going out of beat, it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't go in. I mean, I'll try a couple of times, but if I think I can get it in on the decks, then I will still keep it in, if that makes sense. So, we got a tune here, Scott Brown, I Became Hardcore. And what I'm thinking to go with it is another Scott Brown tune called Hardcore Hustler. Let's have a look. It's lagging a little bit. I'm just hoping it'll work. So here's Hardcore Hustler. Right here. So I'm just going to tap the sync. Just going to put it to 170. It's actually lagging quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just skip it to here. So I think it might be because I'm streaming at the same time, but we'll see. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the next track in at the cue point, and we'll see if it'll actually go in. So, and we'll see what it sounds like. Oh, that's nasty. It's quite hard because it's lagging so much. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like you press it and then it's not. Here we go. I've got it. Yeah, so we know that them tunes, we know now, them tunes actually go like really well together. So so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to that Became Hardcore. So we gotta go back to that I Became. So I Became. So there we go. So it's lit up green because we've already played it. And then what we just basically do is we move it into this 2.0. So it's a playlist that I've made especially for it. So we'll cut that now. Scott Brown. So we've got a couple of Scott Browns here, but I think the track doesn't go under Scott Brown first. I think it's Hardcore Hustler original mix. So we'll put that into the 2.0 because that is actually going to work. So what we need to do now is we need to think of a track that is actually gonna go in with the Hardcore Hustler. So I'm thinking personally, we do this Heartbeats tune. So I'm gonna put it on and we're gonna see what it'll sound like. So I got to beat sync it. For some reason, Darren Styles and Breeze produced that at 167, and it just sounds better speeded up. So again, we'll go to that cue point and we'll just bring it in. Better make sure my volume's up. Let's see if we can get this. You know what, it's so hard, because it's lagging so much. This is not really how I wanted it to go. Let's try it again. But it is very, very laggy. It's very laggy, to be honest. I can't plan a set with it lagging like this, unfortunately. There is no way that I'm going to get these, and I can't hear it properly. It's just lagging and jumping for me. And it's just not, like I tap something, and it's just like, there's like a good 5 to 6 second delay before I even get to like do what it's doing. So it's like I'll tap it on the beat and it's like 5 second delay before it plays. So it's actually then knocking it out a beat because it's not sending the signal as soon as I click the mouse. So I am going to cut the live, unfortunately. I do apologise about that. I'll have a look into why it's not allowing me to do it properly, and I'll get back and I'll have a go through it myself. So sorry for the inconvenience, people. Please like, comment and share. I hope we can do this again in the future. So let's hope we can. And I'll try and sort out the lagging issue. I don't know if it's lagging for you, but it was lagging for me, and it was unbearable for me to even plan a set like this. I think with the first mix, we just got lucky that it actually clicked in time. So anyway, like, comment, share. Peace out, people.